There's a photograph sitting on my kitchen table right now. I don't know how it got there. There's a teenage boy in it, sitting on a bare wooden floor, unharmed, but the look on his face. I've never felt that kind of sorrow for a stranger in my life. And next to it, a jar of honey. The VHS tape is gone. I need you to understand something before I go any further. I'm not the kind of person who loses sleep over things. I'm not paranoid. I don't spiral. But whatever this is, it's been eating me alive. And I don't think I'm supposed to be talking about it at all. My great Aunt Annette was the kind of person who existed at the edges of a family. You'd hear her name mentioned at Christmas. You'd see her at funerals. But she wasn't there. Not really. Never married. No kids. My dad mentioned once that she was into birdwatching. That was pretty much the whole portrait. I'd been to her house maybe twice as a child, old enough to remember the smell. Damp walls. Something green and slow-growing behind the wallpaper. And I remember thinking she was nothing like my grandma. Grandma was warm. Annette was. A space where warmth should have been. When she died, the family showed up to her funeral the way people show up to funerals for people they've half forgotten. They mourned the idea of her. By then, Dad was gone. Grandma too. Which left me and my mom to deal with whatever she left behind. Finances sorted themselves out. What remained got packed into cardboard boxes and pushed into basements. Out of sight. Out of mind. Until my mom decided to renovate. She asked if I'd help clear out the basement. Mom had to work, so she left me a spare key and told me to get a head start. For a couple of hours, it was fine, even kind of nice. Old toys. A broken blender. The quiet archaeology of a childhood home. I didn't mind it. Then, in the far corner, I found a box with Annette's name on it in thick black marker. I carried it upstairs. Set it on the kitchen table. Since I had time to kill, I opened it. I was expecting clutter. Little trinkets, the way old people accumulate things. Instead, one photo album. Thick. Heavy. The word family on the cover in faded gold lettering. Something about that word felt off. I opened it, and I don't know how to explain the feeling that came over me. It was like touching something cold in the dark. Every photo was of family gatherings. Birthdays. Holidays. Picnics. Normal moments, perfectly captured. Except in every single one. Every single one. Someone was missing. Not blurred. Not out of frame. Just gone. An arm draped over empty air. A gap between two people that was exactly the shape of a person. A steaming plate of food at a table with no one sitting before it. My first instinct was Photoshop. Some grudge, some erasure. But that didn't hold up. I could place everyone I knew in those photos. So who was it? When Mom arrived, I showed her. She said it was her cousin Tony, that Annette never approved of him being gay. Sure, okay. I'd met Tony. But every photo, she was certain, wouldn't hear another word about it. So I let it go. For a while. I borrowed the album. Asked other family members what they thought. And here's where it stopped making sense. Every single person I asked had a different answer. All of them certain. My Aunt Emma said it was her Uncle Jeffrey. My third cousin Nate swore it was an ex of his. A few others named various in-laws. No two people agreed. but they all remembered the events in the photos clearly. They just couldn't agree on who was missing from them. And then I noticed something else. In the photos where I appeared as a child, I was always staring directly at the empty space. Wide-eyed. Terrified. I started losing sleep. When I did sleep, the same dream kept coming. A family picnic. I'm playing catch with a smiling man. And where his face should be, there's just a smear of white light. I had to know. I went back to my own basement and dug through it until I found another box with Annette's name on it. When I cut it open, the smell hit me before anything else. Chlorine and something sweet. Like licorice. Artificial. Wrong. It had been sealed in that box for years, but it was strong. Like it was still fresh. And that smell unlocked something I'd spent a long time trying to forget. I was 10 years old. My best friend was a kid named Lucas. That summer, we played ding-dong ditch around the neighborhood, knocking on doors and running. Standard kid stuff. To get to Lucas's place, I'd walk a stretch of country road. There was one house out there that always put me on edge. The front yard had a smell to it. Chewing tobacco and something stagnant. Like pond water. The driveway was always empty. No car. No sign of anyone. One afternoon, Lucas dared me to knock on that door. I walked up to it feeling brave. I barely finished knocking before it opened. The man on the other side was bald, with a tight gray beard. He wore a suit. His lips were bleeding in several places, not from a cut. From being bitten. Repeatedly. Into the skin itself. And his eyes were wrong. Large and dark and completely still. The way an animal's eyes are still when they've spotted something. Inside the house, the lights were off. A grandfather clock stood in the hallway with no arms. The floorboards were painted blue. And from somewhere deeper inside, Reelin' in the Years by Steely Dan. I only knew it because it was my dad's song. There were bees. A swarm of them. Moving through the dark interior. None of them trying to leave. It's too late to pick another door, he said. I couldn't speak. He smiled and mimed knocking, rapping his cold knuckles on my forehead. Lightly. Knock, knock. You've been a nosy boy, he whispered. A bad, nosy little naughty nosy boy. I tried to apologize. He cut me off. Leaned forward and screamed directly into my face, not words. Just sound. The kind that comes from somewhere past language. His breath was thick with cough syrup. Spit hit my cheeks. Then he stopped. Just like that. Went still. Watched me. A bee landed on his face and crawled straight into his nostril. He didn't move. You won't tell anybody what you saw, he said quietly. Because if you do, I'll creep into your room late at night when you're asleep and get you. And no one will ever know. He slammed the door. I ran. I think I pissed myself. I didn't stop running until I was home. I told my dad. He called the police. They searched the area. But the house was between owners at the time. There was no one supposed to be there. They never found him. That almost made it worse, because if he wasn't there, then where was he? Back to the box. Under the bubble wrap. A VHS tape. A single photograph. And a pair of binoculars. The binoculars had their lenses painted solid black. Completely opaque. You couldn't see anything through them. The photograph showed me and my mom sitting with a man named Mr. Carter and his son, Miles. I would have been around 7. Mr. Carter was my Uncle Trevor's best friend. We'd see him at family events sometimes. Miles and I got along fine back then. After Mr. Carter died in a car accident, Miles went into the foster system. I never heard about him again. I dug out my old VHS player. The tape held one short home video. A picnic. The family laughing, talking. And there, in the middle of it all, as clear as anything, was him. The man from the house on the country road. No suit this time. No bleeding lips. Just laughing with everyone else. As if he'd always been there. The hair on my arms stood up. Then the camera panned to a child crying. It was Miles. Same age as in the photograph. When the camera swung back, the man was gone. The family didn't react. They kept laughing. Kept talking. Like he'd never existed. Twist. I showed the tape to my mom. She went cold. Then furious, a fury I'd never seen from her, not toward me, not once in my adult life. She left without eating. Wouldn't answer my calls. When I finally reached her, she had no memory of the conversation. Acted like I'd imagined the whole thing. I sent clips to other family members. Nothing. Cousin Nate blocked my number. Uncle Trevor was the only one who called back. He told me Miles had run away from his foster placement and was never found. He got me the name of the foster home and that was that. I called them the next day. Sat on hold for a long time. And instead of elevator music, reeling in the years, playing through the receiver like a signal, like something pointing at me. The social worker who finally picked up was elderly, tired sounding. She found a partial log on Miles. She typed it out and emailed it to me. 2 entries. December 4th, 2002, follow-up call to foster home. Mrs. Peterson states Miles has been quiet, no trouble. Says he spends a lot of time alone in his room. Claims he has an imaginary friend he talks to. Scheduled home visit next week. And then, 1 month later, a different handwriting. Case file update. Foster family reports Miles ran away. No belongings taken. No signs of struggle. Police report filed. Case status, inactive. I went back to watch the tape again. The man wasn't in it anymore. In his place, Miles. Playing happily with me and the other kids. Laughing. Like the tape had simply corrected itself overnight. I went back to my family. Now they didn't remember Mr. Carter at all. Didn't remember Miles. I called Trevor in a panic. He denied everything, the whole conversation. Carter. Miles. All of it. Told me my father was his best man at his wedding. Sent me photos to prove it. And there was Dad. Front and center. Giving a speech. I stopped. I returned the album to Mom. I told myself it was over. Then the next morning, I came downstairs. The Polaroid was on my kitchen table. A teenage boy on a wooden floor. Miserable in a way that went beyond anything I have words for. The jar of honey next to it. Golden and still. The VHS tape was gone. I've been thinking about what that man said to me 30 years ago on a doorstep I never should have knocked on. You won't tell anybody what you saw. Maybe he meant it. Maybe that's still in effect. Maybe that's why everyone around me forgets. Why the tape changed. Why the world keeps smoothing itself out. like a bed being made over something hidden underneath. I don't know what Miles is to him. I don't know what any of this means. I don't know why I'm the only one who seems to be carrying it, this weight. This knowledge that something is very, very wrong. And that a boy who cried at a picnic once went somewhere and was never found.